out a river from this desolate earth which had long died. This is the story of this river, Reborn. We are in Rajasthan, Western India. Desert, scrub, and thirst. These words find a new meaning here. People scrounge for a few drops of water. But Rajasthan had a rich tradition of water harvesting, collecting the few drops which would fall and turn it into a lifesaver. Over the years, this knowledge had crumbled and the thirst had increased many folds. Around 15 years ago, a young man and few of his friends decided to work among these water-starved people. They set themselves a simple task of reviving people's knowledge and faith over their traditional water harvesting systems. This young man was called Rajendra Singh, and later his organization was named Tarun Bharat Sangh. The Sangh inspired people to come up with ideas of water harvesting which worked. All shared their knowledge and exchanged ideas to rebuild the decrepit johars, the water harvesting structures of yesteryears. The community got together in over 1,000 villages in eastern Rajasthan. Over village meetings, logistics were set up to start rebuilding the johars. Villagers' contribution will be over half of the total cost of the johars, and Tarun Bharat Sangh will facilitate the infusion of the shortfall. Men and women ardently set up to put together their future. The johar would be a crescent-shaped mud and stone structure, aligned in a way that it would obstruct the flow of water. The water collected thus would seep in and recharge the water table. And it worked. Water is often the dividing line between poverty and prosperity. With the water table rising dramatically, things started to change. Cattle, the backbone of any agrarian society, had now enough water and fodder to produce milk and work the fields. But alongside the johars also came up the forest and the strengthening of the catchment areas. This johar at Sankra is one of the biggest the villagers of Bhauta had made. Around it, the Bhyano Dev People's Sanctuary, protected by the community, is a testimony to their formula of a catchment area. But alongside this, another spectacular thing was happening. A string of johars were coming up in the line of the dried Arvari. With the rising water table, the Arvari too was slowly coming back to life. Work started in the 503 square kilometer watershed in the late 80s. 238 small and medium-sized johars were built on the myriad rivulets through 70 villages. By 1994, the 45-kilometer Arvari was in full flow. These contrasting visuals of Rajasthan are almost unbelievable. Communities can change their own fate and futures. Along the river, village after village turned their fortunes. Women were best affected. Their long trudge for water and fodder was now over. Water was at their doorstep. But this couldn't be a flash in the pan. Institutions had to be built around this community action to make it sustainable. People built their own parliament, Arvari Parliament. One representative from each of the 70 villages in the Arvari basin was a member. The parliament decided disputes on the use and management of the Arvari water. The coming of water can ironically also create trouble. In India, water is a state property. Especially the state of Rajasthan has a slew of stringent laws governing ownership. In Hamirpur, a tributary of Arvari was revived with the building of Jabbar Sagar Bandh. People felt that they now exercised ownership on the river. But the water brought the fish, the birds, and the hard-nosed officials. Conflict arose on the ownership of the fish. The villagers strategized and challenged the government and later won the battle. They never allowed the government to touch their fish and water. Revival of the Arvari is a miracle, not through a divine intervention, but with collective community knowledge and action. To protect it from being predated upon, policy changes are a must. Rivers flow through civilizations, binding cultures and people. But when you nurture back a river to life, it's also your baby. Recognizing community ownership on water and other natural resources is perhaps the only sustainable way forward.